Hi, this is Kevin Douglas, recording some vintage with an aggressive version of Shops. Looks like we won the die roll. We did play this opponent last match, Rub My Potato. Um, they were on like a blue-red Delver list or a Grixis Delver list. We don't have any mana here, so we have to mulligan. So we have an Ancient Tomb and a Mana Crypt. We can go Chief of Foundry, Lodestone Golem. I'm gonna go ahead and keep this. Null Rod goes to the bottom. So I think we lead off with Lodestone Golem. And then next turn, Phyrexian Metamorph. Yeah, so they knew we were on Shops. I kind of expected they would have, I mean, there's hands to keep without Force of Will, but knowing that we're on the play, and the fact that game one of the last match, they got completely locked out, I was kind of expecting that they had some interaction. So they lead off with the Delver, Black Lotus, Mox Sapphire. They have land up. Only 2 cards left. We'll see if they fetch with this Flooded Strand to manipulate their library. No, they do crack the Lotus for red. Put out a Young Pyromancer. Aren't able to use that last red mana, so they're off to a pretty good start. With only 1 card left, if we can get a Phyrexian or a Precursor Golem down, we might be in good shape. Because they might not have a place or a way to interact with it right now. Thorn of Amethyst, I don't think that's really what we want to be doing. Well, actually, let me see here. So we can go Thorn of Amethyst. That might keep them at bay for Young Pyromancer, although they do have 2 mana. We can't run out the Precursor Golem. We can't really run out the Phyrexian Metamorph. So we either run out Chief of Foundry, Thorn of Amethyst. I think I run out Chief of the Foundry because I can block the Young Pyromancer. They only have 1 card left in hand. They had mana, and they chose not to cast anything. They had 2 mana available. They chose not to cast anything to trigger Young Pyromancer. So hopefully it was just like another land. And since we're using this Ancient Tomb, I'd like to get a blocker down because we're already going to be losing quite a bit of life. So the opponent reveals Mental Misstep. It does flip their Delver, which is a little unfortunate. I might actually want to Phyrexian Metamorph that Delver to have a blocker. I'm not quite sure. So we'll see what we draw here. Between the Mana Crypt, Ancient Tomb, this Phyrexian Metamorph, we are dealing a lot of damage ourselves. Mishra's Factory's good. We can go Precursor Golem. That'll give us a bunch of 4/4 golems. But I think at this point in time, I'd really like to, get a blocker down for this Sectile Aberration maybe. So I'm going to cast the Metamorph. It's kind of interesting. It's letting me like choose my opponent. So we have our own Insectile Aberration. It's a 4/3. Unfortunately, it does still die to their Insectile Aberration. And I'm kind of debating on whether I want to cast this Thorn off the Ancient Tomb now. I think I do. It does cost 2 life. But it does help keep them stuck on their 2 mana. So the opponent finds another land. We know they have a Mental Misstep and 1 other card. So they can't swing with the Insectile Aberration. We lost the flip. We're down to 3 life. So now we're just going to have to get really, really lucky with Mana Crypt flips. So we could swing with the Chief of the Foundry. It'll trade with either creature. I don't think that they're going to block it. And like I said, we're just gonna have to get really lucky with these Mana Crypt flips. We don't run Ravager in the deck, so we can't draw 1 and sacrifice it. They're going to cast Ancestral Recall, get a token. It's kind of a bummer for us because they were pretty short on resources. With only 1 mana right now, though, and the Thorn out, I don't think they're going to be able to do anything else for this turn unless they want to cast like 0 casting cost Artifact Rock or Mana Rock. This next turn, at the very least, we'll be able to cast the Null Rod if we want. That does take off our Mana Crypt, though. Takes them off their Sapphire. But it might not matter here. So we won 1 flip. That's a good start. Foundry Inspector. So we need to leave blockers back. And we need to respect the fact that they can't put another token into play unless they counter something with like a Force of Will. So do we run a Factory out and attack? Do we need to? Or do I play a Foundry Inspector? I think I attack in here, honestly. I don't have much time with this Mana Crypt, so I need to be aggressive. So I need to leave back at least 3 blockers. don't know that they're going to want to trade anything here. They might just chump one of the golems. Alright, so they've got 6 cards, 3 mana. We do have a Thorn in play. It's very possible we die on our next upkeep to our mana crypt. They're going to play another Young Pyromancer. At the very least, it's going to be able to chump the golems. Alright, so we lost to our mana crypt, so we'll begin sideboarding here. Kind of like last time, we'll bring in Winter Orb and the Sorcerer's Spyglass. Basically, I don't think we need these Null Rods. Winter Orb is good because we run a lot of artifact mana, a lot of mana, or lands that tap for multiple. They don't, so that helps hurt their mana. And then the Sorcerer's Spyglass, we can target their fetch lands. If they're running Jace, we can hit a Jace. I think both of those are just better than the Null Rods. So we'll go ahead and submit that. We'll be on the play again. Hopefully we won't have to mulligan. We did end up doing ourselves a lot of damage last game. Might have to watch that this game. But this one starts off 2 Workshops, Revoker, Snare Thopter. I think we keep. So they decide to keep their 7. We'll go ahead and run out the Snare Thopter. And we'll actually have enough mana next turn to run out 2 Phyrexian Metamorphs. And if we draw some fast mana, we could even run out the Phyrexian Revoker too. So they're going to lead out Misty Rainforest. Fetch Volcanic Island. Mox Jet. And there's Young Pyromancer. So, not very good at blocking our Snare Thopter. Sphere Resistance. So I'm actually going to go. I think I'm going to try to resolve Sphere Resistance and probably Phyrexian Metamorph Sphere Resistance. Or I can Revoker the Mox Jet and play Sphere Resistance. So I've got 7 mana. That's going to be 2, 5, 7. So I think I could go Phyrexian Revoker on the Mox Jet, Metamorph the Snare Thopter, Sphere of Resistance. So they're going to have to think about whether they want to, they know I'm going to target their Mox Jet, put them behind on mana a little bit. They might be thinking about countering this. Yeah, so they're going to get a token. So they're worried about losing the Mox Jet. That actually makes me think that maybe going Sphere Resistance, Metamorph Sphere Resistance, and then next turn copying the Snare Thopter is a good plan. Although I'm not going to be able to metamorph. The sphere this turn, so I'm going to have to do it next turn. I'll do another Snare Thopter, and then play Sphere. Mr.'s Workshop's a pretty busted card. Alright, so unless they have like a Bi-Force and enough mana to target like multiple artifacts, I think we're in a good spot. 2-turn clock. They currently have us on a 6-turn clock. Although, I mean, they have enough cards and mana where they're probably going to get a couple more tokens. So there's a tutor. They're not going to be able to cast whatever they look for this turn. And they're not going to be able to counter this Phyrexian Metamorph. So we're just going to copy one of the Snare Thopters and just get in for 9, which should be lethal. So I think that this is going to be game. Yeah, so they're kind of in the tank right now. Trying to think about, you know, what wins in the game next turn. So let's go ahead and cast this Phyrexian Metamorph, copy a Snare Thopter, get in for 9. Alright, so go to sideboard. Yeah, once again, I think this is a pretty good 60. I don't think Null Rod, I mean, Null Rod, it's going to be hit or miss. You know, it could be good against them, but I think, you know, it's going to hurt us just as much as it hurts them. They don't really rely that much on artifacts. We definitely do to some extent. I mean, a lot of our fast mana. So this is another hand that has Workshop, Mox Pearl. We can go Foundering Spectre, Revoker, Foundering Spectre, Sphere of Resistance. Definitely going to keep. So they mulligan. See if they go to 5. So they decide to keep their 6. They put a card on top. We've been pretty lucky in these series of games. I think I've seen Workshop every game. Not every game, actually. There was that one game where we had Ancient Tomb and our Mana Crypt. They're going to start off with Volcanic Island and Preordain. So there's a Metamorph. So kind of like we talked about, we'll go Mishra's Workshop, Mox Pearl, Foundering Spectre, it might have been right to go I think we go Sphere of Resistance here. Then maybe next turn, I think what would be best is if we saw a target for our Phyrexian Revoker, and then we could Phyrexian Metamorph like a Sphere, if they were really stuck on mana. Looks like they're going to cast Ancestral Recall. Can't cast anything else through that Sphere. So they're up to 7 cards. So, Ghost Quarter, Ancient Tomb. Everything costs us 1 extra. But the Foundry Inspector reduces that cost. So, for 6 mana, we could cast a Chief and a Phyrexian Metamorph. And I think that's what we're going to want to do. So there's Chief of the Foundry, and then we're gonna cast a Phyrexian Metamorph, targeting that Sphere resistance. And that gives us a pretty good clock, and really taxes their mana. So it looks like they don't have any more land. They're gonna have to discard. Looks like they discard Cabal Therapy. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. We could cast a Precursor Golem and a Revoker. So oh nope, we actually can't cast both. But that's probably going to close the game up. I suppose they could like Ignite Chewer, get rid of the Golems next turn if they find another mana. But it still leaves us with a pretty good board. I mean, I'm trying to think of what their outs are. I guess they could go. Yeah, there's not much I think they could really do. They could really do there. So, Shops is can be pretty brutal once you get those lock pieces down. I think we were pretty fortunate to find Mishra's Workshop and some pretty good starting hands this match.